Well, joining me to discuss developments in Syria is Barak, a Middle East Associate Fellow at the Defence and Security think tank here in London, the Royal United Services Institute. Thanks for coming in. Can you just explain to us why Israel would want to do this? They've explained their reasons, but why do you think they're doing this?
The Fatah 110 missile is a mobile missile that's able to target Tel Aviv. If you've got Iran shipping to Syria, its proxy, these weapons, as well as Syria unleashing upon its own civilians chemical weapons, that's passing all acceptable red lines. It makes the region into a much more dangerous place. Therefore, Israel cannot allow a vacuum of governance to take place on its borders that can perhaps have a demographic flow or have their weapons target their civilian population.
So it's not right to say that this has nothing to do with the civil war in Syria right now?
I think it's got everything to do with the civil war in Syria. We can't make distinct compartmentalizations of what's going on. We can't separate Iran from Syria. We can't separate the civil war from Syria attempting to buttress its own support by saying it's an imagined external aggressor and therefore attempt to shift the attention of the population to an external enemy in order to have to upshore its own illegitimate rule.
And there are tensions between Syria and Israel, although it's been largely peaceful so far, and it's not the first time it's believed that Israel has attacked Syrian positions.
The United States clearly perceives Israel as a regional stabilizer. In 2007, Israel successfully took out Assad's nuclear facility. This was at a time that the Bush administration didn't have much confidence to do that when they got their intel wrong in Iraq. And President Bush in his memoirs reveals that Israel decided to go it alone, and Israel was successful. Had Syria had a nuclear facility, it would have made a region that's already unstable even more dangerous.
So what do you think the thinking will be now at Capitol Hill, at the White House, at the Pentagon, at the British Foreign Office about these Israeli airstrikes?
I think that there's already pressure mounting on the Obama administration on the failed policy of only addressing the prospects of a chemical attack against the people after it's been done, and having 3 years to just have a laissez-faire approach. There's not been the construction of a no-fly zone, of a humanitarian corridor, and there's been also a very laid-back approach towards Iran. So I think that we already see that the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee is saying, first of all, that we are going to be behind Israel, whatever Israel does, vis-a-vis Iran. And secondly, you're seeing this comes exactly at the same time that screws are being tightened on Iran with sanctions. So Iran wants to unleash its aggression, whether it be in the Persian Gulf or whether it be in Lebanon. And I think that it heightens regional security to attempt to curb Iran's sphere of influence from reaching into Lebanon, into Syria, and prevent the emergence of an effective Shia crescent.
Barak, thank you for coming in.
Thank
you
you
for your thoughts and analysis.